American leadership is what holds the world together. American alliances are what keep us, America, safe. American values are what make us a partner that other nations want to work with. To put all that at risk if we walk away from Ukraine, if we turn our backs on Israel, it's just not worth it.
Part of President Biden's address last night urging Americans and Congress to continue to support Ukraine and Israel in the vastly different wars each is fighting. We'll go live to Israel for the latest on the expected ground invasion of Gaza. Meanwhile, Republicans are somehow creating even more chaos on Capitol Hill. With another speaker's vote scheduled for this morning, it comes as the temporary speaker is getting fed up and is now threatening to resign. Plus, we'll get expert legal analysis on the surprise guilty plea from one of the many defendants in the Georgia election interference case. That's a big one. Good morning and welcome to Morning Joe. It's Friday, October 20th. I'd love to get both you and Willie's reaction to the president's speech last night. I thought it was really effective, sort of part teacher, part influencer and trying to spread the word of democracy.
Well, I mean, part comforter. I mean, there's no doubt, Willie, that last night's speech, you never know what to expect of the president's speech. And you think sometimes there are going to be some platitudes here, some platitudes there. I'm talking any president. Last night's was a significant speech. This was a speech that was delivered on the heels of China and Russia's leaders getting together, Russia's foreign minister and Kim Jong-un getting together, Iran and Hamas coming together. We heard the term back in 2003, axis of evil. If that word is offensive to people out there this morning, we'll make them spit out their lattes. We'll just say there is an axis of anti-American forces out there that are coming together that want to recreate the world in their own tyrannical image. And against that backdrop, Joe Biden gave a historic speech last night. It was a speech that talked about America's role in the world at a time that a lot of Republicans on the far right and a lot of Democrats on the far left want to retreat. And Joe Biden's not for retreating. He also was a comforter in chief. I thought it was very moving when he said, if you are hurting out there, whether you are Jewish or Muslim, I hear you. You are part of our family. You are an American. I thought that was an incredibly important thing to say. I'm so glad he said it. He actually called the father of the 6-year-old child who was brutally murdered, senselessly murdered, comforted him, let him know that he and Jill were praying for his wife. So it was, I got to say, it was a surprise of a speech for me. And it surprised some people who aren't Joe Biden fans. Brit Hume called it at points remarkable and said it was by far, it was a critically important speech and the best speech of the president's career.
Yeah, this president has had, it seems, absolute clarity on this issue since the war, actually going back to Ukraine, but especially in the last 2 weeks since Hamas attacked Israel. There's been no equivocating in his support for Israel. The way he talks about America's relationship with Israel, he flew into a hot war zone 2 days ago to stand shoulder to shoulder with the prime minister. And that was on display, I think, last night. And you're right, in a time when you have Putin meeting with President Xi, you have Houthi rebels, you have different Iran-backed groups attacking now American troops, trying to with drones. It feels like a very heavy, dangerous, serious moment for Americans who are watching this all play out and wondering where our place is in this. And I think you're right that the president was trying to settle people a little last night. Say, we have an important role to play. We're the United States of America, but we can do this. We can continue to support Ukraine. Here's a reminder why that's important, and we must support Israel. Here's why that's important, if you're wondering. And he did something that we heard President Bush do in the days after 9/11, was try, as you said, to reassure Muslim Americans that they are a part of all of this, that they have a safe place to be, and to talk about that beautiful 6-year-old boy who was murdered just for being Muslim. So it was It was a pretty extraordinary speech, and I would say in a string of extraordinary moments that this president has had in the last 2 weeks.
He's very much in the moment and understands the assignment clearly from his decades of experience and mistakes made in foreign policy over time. It's brought him to this place where he truly understands the mission here. Here's President Biden calling on Americans to support both Israel and Ukraine in their respective wars and explaining why it's critical to our national security.
Hamas and Putin represent different threats, but they share this in common. They both want to completely annihilate a neighboring democracy, completely annihilate it. Hamas' stated purpose for existing is the destruction of the state of Israel and the murder of Jewish people. Hamas does not represent the Palestinian people. Hamas uses Palestinian civilians as human shields, and innocent Palestinian families are suffering greatly because of them. Meanwhile, Putin denies Ukraine has or ever had real statehood. He claims the Soviet Union created Ukraine. I know these conflicts can seem far away, and it's natural to ask, why does this matter to America? So let me share with you why making sure Israel and Ukraine succeed is vital for America's national security. You know, history has taught us that when terrorists don't pay a price for their terror, when dictators don't pay a price for their aggression, they cause more chaos and death and more destruction. They keep going, and the cost and the threats to America and the world keep rising. And if we walk away and let Putin erase Ukraine's independence, would-be aggressors around the world would be emboldened to try the same. The risk of conflict and chaos could spread in other parts of the world, in the Indo-Pacific, in the Middle East, especially in the Middle East. Iran is supporting Russia in Ukraine, and it's supporting Hamas and other terrorist groups in the region, and will continue to hold them accountable, I might add. Tonight, there are innocent people all over the world who hope because of us, who believe in a better life because of us, who are desperate not to be forgotten by us, and are waiting for us. But time is of the essence. I know we have our divisions at home. We have to get past them. We can't let petty, partisan, angry politics get in the way of our responsibility as a great nation. We cannot and will not let terrorists like Hamas and tyrants like Putin win. I refuse to let that happen.